Hi, I'm McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org.
Good morning and welcome to the challenge. As always, first and foremost, we want to thank God for the opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. We've asked Daniel Torres, the Executive Director of the Life Restoring Ministries Development Corporation, to come back with us and to talk more specifically this time about the kinds of issues that he hopes to tackle as a part of that development corporation, and how that will impact our communities. I believe that what he's doing and the work that they're doing is a model for, quite frankly, for all of us, and more specifically the church, or churches, if you will, to follow. Good morning again, Dan.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's really all mine. Your vision, if you will, can you share that with us about the development corporation that is really separate but a part of the church?
Right. We are the social justice arm of House of Restoration Church, and that's how it was established.
Okay.
60% of our board is comprised of the church membership, just to keep the corporation on the right track in terms of vision and mission of what the church is looking to accomplish here in Hartford and in the state. House of Restoration was founded, 55 years ago.
Right.
Different name, but the church and the membership, has existed and has been contributing to this city for over 55 years. Mm-hmm. The corporation, I would say, kind of started as a gift,
okay,
if you will. About 12 years ago, DCF knocked on our doors and said, hey, we have a problem. We can't find Latino households for adoption and foster care. Wow. Would you be open to recruiting
wow.
faith-based, families?
Sure.
And so the Queen Esther Ministries was initiated through a grant from DCF,
wow.
which was a gift.
Right.
For 12 years, we enjoyed that gift and contributed, some beautiful families and rescued some beautiful children.
Wow.
And have given those children homes.
Sure.
Over 12 years, it's been over 160 homes that we were able to recruit.
Wow.
And actually, those were licensed homes. In terms of recruiting, we had recruited in the thousands of peoples.
That's extraordinary. So kids who have been either abandoned or who are part of the foster care system, if you will, who've been displaced for one reason or another, you are connecting to people who want them, who want to share their love with them, who want to extend their families and have those people become a part of. That's what Queen Esther is about.
Yes, Queen Esther was about. We were doing that program for 12 years. As I said, that program, DCF, came to us.
Sure.
And it was faith-based, right
Sure.
out in the open. It was
Sure.
written right in the contract. We're looking for faith-based families. We find, this is their words.
Sure.
We find that, faith families tend to be more stable,
Absolutely.
tend to be, more caring.
Absolutely.
And of course, I mean, if you're grounded in faith, everything that you're doing, 24/7, 365, you're doing it as if you were doing it unto God.
Amen.
So
Amen.
there's a larger commitment,
Amen.
So, some of the stuff that we saw through that program was that a lot of our parents remained, in foster care for lots of years. There's still, families that 12 years ago were doing foster care are still doing that. Families that adopted 3, 4, 5 kids, throughout the years. So phenomenal program. Unfortunately, DCF had a change of heart and has not awarded that contract going forward. But we still believe that the need is still great.
Oh, absolutely.
Should the opportunity arise, we would be more than willing to partner with DCF again and go that route.
I hope that there's that is reconnected, and I hope that that's put together again. Certainly, my prayer is that that happens. I tell you, that is a invaluable, I think, service when it comes to our community, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that it hadn't continued, or that you're having this time where you're not connected to them. I know that's just one of those things that the Development Corporation focuses on. You're also focusing on teen pregnancy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've done some research.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Last summer, we had a wonderful experience. Last summer, we had 90 plus youth go through an abstinence-based sex education curriculum. And what was interesting is that when I was presenting this to parents, and this was not, and we were running a non-faith program.
Sure.
We were running a program,
Sure.
for youth employment.
Right.
When I presented this opportunity to the parents, and I talked about teenage pregnancy and how we needed to grab hold of this and become responsible in this area, and I talked about abstinence, and and I got a standing ovation from parents.
Wow.
So this myth and this feeling and this perception that the community, that our communities don't care about our kids,
Right.
and
Right.
don't want to influence our kids in a positive way.
Right.
That's false.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We are interested in
Absolutely.
avoiding teenage pregnancy.
Absolutely.
We are
Absolutely.
interested in eliminating, sexually transmitted diseases.
Absolutely.
But the safest and the only foolproof way
Right.
is abstinence.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we were able to educate 90 youth. This summer, we're doing a purity vow ceremony at the church with the young ladies and the young men at the church, and asking them to make a commitment with their parents that they're going to remain abstinent until marriage. And why not?
Right.
And this is what's going to clean up, and really address the issues in this city with in reference to teenage pregnancy and poverty and so many, and dropout rates. I mean, this is all correlated, and this simple conversation is very important.
Right.
So we do the teenage abstinence education, but we also take the parents and say, listen, let's have a talk.
Yeah.
Let's give you the skills so that you can talk to your child about the importance and the value of abstinence. So we're talking to the kids, we're talking to the parents.
Wow.
So that is one of the most exciting programs that I think I'm involved in.
It's exceptional because I believe that the family, if you will, is really our first ministry. I think quite often, folks forget that as a society, if you will, it's been God first, then the family,
Right.
and then others. You can't possibly, have and devote your time to other issues if the family itself and the family unit is not intact. And I think that's where we've kind of lost our way, if you will, or losing our way as a society. There's so many broken homes. There's so many broken people. People are wounded because the family unit itself is not intact. And I think where you're at and where the work that you're doing opens up the family and those who are part of the family to have those discussions, to have those conversations, is where all of us actually should devote a lot of time and energy if we're going to make this place better. What do you think?
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
I'm a fourth generation evangelical.
Oh.
My great grandmother in Puerto Rico donated the first plot of land for one of the first Pentecostal churches that was started in the city or the town that she grew up in. And I have a rich history. My father's a minister, my brother is Bishop Torres. So fourth generation. But what we saw, and a mistake that we're trying to correct, is that we saw that a lot of folks that were were born again and grabbed a hold of faith, they became crusaders at the expense of their families.
That's right.
And so they were out saving the world,
right?
But their children were going down the wrong path,
right?
So one of the things that we've been intentional about is making sure that we correct that.
Sure.
So there's a huge focus on making sure that your household is intact,
right,
and is safe,
right,
and it's going down the right path,
right,
before we ask you to get involved.
Sure.
We want to make sure. One of the things that the bishop, one of the strategies that he utilizes when he's going to appoint a pastor is he meets with the children.
Absolutely.
He meets with the wife
of the family,
of the potential pastor.
Sure,
yes.
Sure.
And says, how do you feel about this?
Right. Right.
Do you feel? Are you committed to this?
Sure.
And so it's a different approach.
Sure, it is.
And as I was telling you before, we're celebrating the 20th year of Bishop Torres and Pastor Torres at House of Restoration Church.
Right.
And this weekend, it's the pastoral weekend, where we acknowledge and appreciate the whole family, because each one of those members contributes to the growth of that church.
Absolutely.
So we take that into our leadership.
Yeah.
We take that into everything that we do. We make sure that family is first.
Right.
Family is stable.
Right.
Before you can become a crusader. If you
Absolutely.
will.
And I think, quite frankly, that approach, that strategy, if you will, to me, is key to turning any of the maladies, if you will, that exist in our society around. I think that the family, if you will, as a unit, is there as the foundation simply for everything. I mean, where you get your morals and your ethics from stem from the family that you're a part of. And so, I think you could eliminate a lot of the problems that are popping up now with how you handle difficult, situations, not being able to, provide or having, financial distress and having, all of these things. How do you handle the anger and the frustration that you might have, and even trying to figure out a way to navigate through life can be done if the family stays intact. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the folks who are committing crimes and all the other, they eventually realize that the most important part of their development stems from the family that they have. And I think they're reaching out to us because, you hear me say, and I've said it a number of times on this program, the question has been asked and, in my opinion, answered, Dan. It says, am I my brother's keeper? And I answer with an emphatic, yes, I am. Mm-hmm. We all have a responsibility to each other. And I think the work that you're doing with the Development Corporation speaks directly to that. And so
we have some great goals there. But first of all, our whole philosophy, which is equipping individuals, strengthening families, and then transforming communities, encapsulates what we're trying to do.
Right.
So, we see that in our church community, but we also see it through the corporation. We're doing mentoring programs for youth. We're doing the CWP Summer Learning Program for
Capital
youth.
Workforce Partners.
Capital Workforce Partners.
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
It's an awesome organization.
Right.
Does great work. And different people look at that program from different perspectives. If the kids are, in a program, if they're working, if they're making money, then it's some people see it as a prevention program.
Sure.
Other people see it as an educational program.
Sure.
And then obviously, a job development and job skills development program.
Getting them prepared for life.
There's a lot of value through that program. So in terms of restoring lives, we're looking to provide a safe place for elders. We're looking at in the future at an adult daycare center. We're looking we have the Precious Stones Child Development Center, which we have the under 3, and we're in the process of getting licensed for under 3, and then we have the preschool. With the future goal of possibly even having a school. We want to address single mom issues because that's a huge issue here in the city.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing, I'm very observant, and I've seen, in the last 3 or 4, I've seen young ladies, single moms that have come into our community, our faith community, and I've seen them go from, probably being on public assistance, and then over the course of 2 to 3 years, I've seen, where, they're dressing better, they're better educated, they have better vehicles to get to and from,
right.
And even the children, see a lot more stability in the children. So this is the component. I think that, in a state like this state that has a ton of resources in terms of dumping money at a bunch of problems, the component that's been missing is the faith component. So when churches like ours and many other churches, and I encourage every church to develop a community social service arm,
absolutely,
so that you can address the issues of not only your congregation but the whole neighborhood.
There you go.
I love the North End.
Yeah.
My parents lived off of Albany Street,
right.
On Center Street,
right.
when I was born. I'm a natural Hartford young man.
Hartford is not bad. It's a wonderful city. We have to stop right here, Dan. You and I could go on and on,
yes,
and we're going to have you come back so we can continue to talk about the work that you're doing. I think it'll make a huge difference to a lot of folks. even those who are looking for a vision, if you will, and want to be a part of a vision for changing, the dynamics in the communities that they work in. I know we're out of time, but I want you all to remember Daniel Torres, and the work that they're doing at the Restoring Lives Ministry Community Development Corporation. Thank you very much, and remember, be blessed.